Okay, so we are folks from the Observable team, and we're going to go over some questions about how we've been working in 2020 with the difficult and challenging, and that's me really trying to wordsmith there because I have a lot of other descriptors for 2020, the difficult and challenging time that it has been. So if we could just go around really quickly to introduce ourselves, our position, or what we're working on, like maybe what your project is right now, and how long you've been at Observable. I can go first just to simplify. So my name is Cassandra. I'm the VP of Developer Relations. I've been at Observable since March 2020, right before, literally the week that everything went into isolation. So I got to see some of your faces, or all of you, for a couple days before things went into quarantine. So Visnu, why don't you go next?
Yeah, can you hear me okay, I hope, still? Great, so engineer here, Observable, joined last April, so a year and some months now. I think previous to Observable was at a company doing some data stuff, and then also was using Observable for like maybe about, I don't know, 6 months to a year internally at that company. And so entertainingly, when I was at a point of trying to find a job, I already knew exactly where I wanted to work. And still honestly working through kind of like my own personal backlog list of things I've been wanting to add to Observable that I built up from using it for a while.
Awesome. Thank you, Visnu. Francis, you're next on my screen, so I'm just calling out.
Hi, I'm Francis. I'm leading the recruiting efforts over here at Observable, and I started the week right before Cassandra did. So 2 weeks before we went into quarantine. So that's been an interesting ride. And yeah, so I think that's about 5 months or so now. Like it was mentioned earlier by Melody and the team, like a lot of new folks joined in 2020. So it's been an exciting time so far. Up next is Kudakwashe.
Hi guys, I hope you can hear me well. My name is Kudakwashe Mushaike. I joined back in March. I'm a software engineer here at Observable. And I think like when I joined, I had no experience at all in data visualization. And so when I met Mike and Melody and the team, I was really surprised with the work that they were doing. I thought it was incredible. And I just could not be a part of it. And so that's how I ended up here. But right now, currently I'm building nested collections for y'all. So look out for that.
Thank you. So in I think every interview I have with candidates, like they're always like, why did you pick Observable? You know, their face doesn't always look like that, but sometimes it's like, why? You know, tell me the real reason. And we've all come in at different times. Visnu, I feel like you kind of dug into this, but why Observable? Why are y'all on this team right now? Anyone can pick it up.
I think for me, when I joined back in March, I was coming from a big company, and so there was not much respect for collaboration. I just felt more like a number. So when I came and met the team, and when I was having conversations in the interviews, I was really looking for a place where I could really collaborate, and also where I feel like, you know, there was a lot of care for just me being a person on the team more than the work that I could do for the company. And so once I saw that that was a significant part of the value system here, I just knew that this would be the place for me. And I think since then, like the experiences that I've had have actually just supported that. That's the thing that, you know, Observable really cares about. And I felt much more than just an engineer, but someone who is part of a family at Observable. So which was great for me.
I can go.
Sure, go ahead. Yeah, this is like a combo. So
yeah.
If we talk over each other, like we do it at work all the time, so we can figure it out.
It's like we're in the office together.
Yeah.
I decided to join Observable because when I was speaking with like Melody and Mike about the type of company that they wanted to build, that really aligned with me in terms, I mean, I work as a recruiter, I'm bringing people into the company. I want to make sure that it's a company I want to bring people into and that it was going to support some of the ways that I've thought about how to grow a company, including diversity and a company that really cares. And it might sound like we're drinking our own Kool-Aid, but to echo what Kudakwashe said, I think especially this year, it's really shown through the care that our team has like given to each other, what the executive team has given, and you know, I'm really excited and happy about the way we're growing our team, and that we will continue to have those conversations to grow it. And so it was really like an alignment of vision, an alignment with who we wanted to bring on, and the types of folks we wanted to bring on, and the backgrounds, and have bringing on people that bring those unique perspectives. And so, of course, there was a lot of other things. Like as a recruiter, I always say you should have a checklist of things that you are really looking for in terms of like product alignment, mission, and a lot of those. But the thing that really drew me and why I decided to join was, again, the type of company and the team that we wanted to build.
Yeah, and I kind of already answered it, the same question, but maybe to go into it a bit more. But I was using Observable a bunch for both personal and work stuff. And I would kind of get jokes from my coworkers of like, I was basically going around finding like nails to use my Observable hammer on. So it didn't really matter what problem you had, I would turn it into an Observable problem and solve it with a notebook. And so, and also, I also remember having a coworker who was leaving, and he was like talking to me about where he should work, and I was like, oh, I mean, there's only one place I feel like you should work. And so when it came to my leaving, that it was, yeah, I don't know, it just felt really obvious.
I love that. I just kind of echoing, you know, what everyone has been saying, but Observable has been really awesome through a really difficult time. And I think initially that was what drove me to be a part of the team, was just seeing a different type of leadership I hadn't really been familiar, that was like empathy first. However, I am really skeptical whenever it comes to that, because I've thought, oh, this team's going to be great before. And when things hit the fan, trying to censor here, when things hit the fan, I don't always feel supported. And so just to get real and personal, I've lost 2 family members, one to COVID and one to brain cancer, in the same week in June. And the amount of support and love and care that I got from Observable during that time and my teammates was, it was really, really impactful, and made me realize I made probably one of the best decisions I could have to join this team. So I want to say thanks to y'all and everyone else. And yeah, we're drinking our own Kool-Aid, and so that's cool. Yeah, so I mean, I have so many questions, and I think there's some questions in the chat, but I want to talk a little bit about like what hasn't been easy, because I think folks can shy away from that as we're drinking the Kool-Aid. Like 2020 has been really, really hard. So what are some of the challenges that you faced, or with work, personally, whatever you want to talk about, and how have you handled those, or what changes have been made to help get you through them? Me with the hard questions. Everyone's like, oh.
I can start with something. I think, you know, it's been interesting. I think there's a lot of other terms to be used as well. It has been a challenge in terms of, we keep using the word adapting, but it is really adapting to a new style of work. For myself and a lot of new team members, like adapting to a new company and getting to know the team, and just adapting to the situation. You know, I personally haven't gone through anything like a pandemic while I've been working, and I think it's been unique for each individual, and everyone has their own situations. And so I think the challenging part is, one, being cool to yourself. I was reading Deepti's comment, being nice to yourself and being kind to yourself. And also, you know, knowing that others are also going through those challenges help. And just a lot of learning and adapting, and I think trying my best in every situation and trying to move forward as much as I can, but still trying to have empathy. And again, I think the challenge again has been mostly about adapting and understanding and figuring things out, at least from my side.
Mm-hmm.
I think for me, besides the pandemic, of course, I think the challenge for me was a couple of weeks ago with the George Floyd thing that happened, and I think it took me off, and I was really in a really bad place, just emotionally, and thinking of what was happening in the world, and like that brought up some of the experiences I've had in the past, and so I was in a place where I didn't even realize, like, part of it, that I was in a really bad emotional state. And I think the company really helped. Like, I can't imagine being anywhere else when that happened. From the support that I got from my teammates, the leadership in the company was very fundamental. And also, I think given the opportunity, I was given an opportunity to be like, I can be at work or I cannot be working, and that's okay. And I think a lot of places, like, I know my friends who are Black in other companies were told, we're not even asked how they were doing. And I know for the most part, nobody was really concerned about how they were doing. And they still were expected to perform at the same level that they expected every day, besides any other thing that's happening outside the company or inside the company. So it was really nice getting that allowance, but also just having the team check on me and how I was doing during the time. And even now, post that thing. So that was incredible for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think what basically Kudakwashe and Francis already talked about. I feel like the company has been very proactive, and Melody and Mike and everyone else in general about being explicit about what policies or things that we're thinking about and putting into place in order to help people deal with their lives nowadays.
Yeah, for me, one of the most difficult challenges during this time has been time management, especially with all the BLM stuff, and then in addition, my family stuff, which happened a couple weeks apart. The time management has just been really hard, and I've got 2 kids at home, 5 and 7-year-old boys, and balancing that was just driving me a little wacko. I mean, I'm already a little out there, but it was getting bad. So for me, the 4-day work week has been immensely helpful in just helping me, gives me a day, one, with my kids, where I can like take them to the park and not worry about work, and 2, take some time for myself. So I'm kind of curious because I don't feel like I've ever gotten to ask y'all this, so I'm gonna ask you now. Do you have any like self-care practices, or do y'all do anything just for you that kind of keeps you sane during these hard times?
Oh, go ahead.
I hope you do. If you don't, I can give suggestions, y'all.
I was going to try to roll this in with another question, but so right now I'm working out of my wife's studio some days, and so it's nice and empty here, and it's like a 5-minute walk from home. So I feel very spoiled actually having the to use the studio, and that's what these rolls of paper are actually. So the studio is used for like photography, but it's basically somewhere where I can go to just like hide and actually concentrate on work. And it's been nice to be able to keep it. And again, I feel super spoiled having like this space to myself some days.
I'm glad you have that though.
Yeah.
That's dope, man. That's really cool. I didn't know about this. I think people are asking about what's behind you.
Yeah. And then so the studio is used for photography also. And so these are huge rolls of paper that you can hang on there's like brackets on the wall that you can hang from the wall. And so it's like a big kind of, when you see like a studio photo where like you just see a solid color in the background, oftentimes it's those things.
Well, I expect you to level up and put those out. And I want different colors for
And have them always behind me somewhere.
yeah, backdrops.
That's so cool.
They're probably expensive, so I probably don't want to keep using them.
Good point. Oh, you get in trouble.
Yeah.
What about you, Kudakwashe or Francis? Do you have any self-care practices? And I know that's like kind of a loaded term, but just do you have anything you do that's just all about you?
Yeah, I've been going to the lake a lot in Oakland.
Good.
I love Lake Erie.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been trying to go there all the time, and I'm always like carrying a book or just hanging out with friends and playing music. That's the things that I've been doing for self-care. And definitely like meditating and writing in the morning. I write poetry, so that has really helped a lot. Somebody asked if I'm Zimbabwean. Yes, I am Zimbabwean. So yeah, basically, yeah.
Where's the puppy? There's the puppy.
This is Coco also. Coco's generally always nearby me.
Is that your self-care, Visnu? The puppy?
Yeah, that's his name.
At work.
But Coco's like 14 years old now.
Wow, 14.
I wish we were in the office. I really love your puppy.
One day we'll get there again. What about you, Francis?
One thing that's actually been helping me, that's with this whole distributed working, remote working situation, is I give myself actually in the morning some like commute time. I feel like I'm in like on my screen all the time. I'm on my computer, I'm on my phone, something is always on. And so in the morning before I actually start work, I like make my coffee and give myself 15, 20 minutes to just be disconnected. Sometimes I'll read something, sometimes from a book or on paper. Again, I try to avoid my screens. Sometimes I'll go for a quick walk in the morning. Thinking back, I really actually valued my commute time a little bit. It gave me like something to focus on, but not necessarily attached to a screen or anything like that. My commute was also fortunately not that long. But I just remember how it like reset in my mind. And I think being at home and working in the same environment for me, like I need something in between to like reset my mind and get me into that space. And so it's now become like a ritual, and it's become like my time to do, just think about something else or just think about nothing and meditate or whatever I want to do. And now I'm really selfish about that time. Like now I have to have it or my morning doesn't start right.
Good.
Yeah.
Do it. Take that time. Self-time is so important.
I resonate a lot with what you said about like, it's funny that now, when we used to commute to work and then go back home, I feel like I had more time after work than I feel now in a weird way. Because I think because the times were separated, like I feel like I used to do a whole lot more after work than I do now. I basically don't even know what the time goes now.
It's easy to get lost.
Yeah.
So this question's half from the comments area and half kind of me switching it up. So it's been hard. We've said that so many times. Often that means emotions are running higher, right? And sometimes patience is lower.
Yeah.
How do we deal with conflict as a team? And I think that's something really important to talk about is how we handle conflict together. And also we're a startup. Things are moving super, super fast, right? Decisions are having to be made. We have to go. We're in go mode. So how do we handle that, or how do we mitigate conflict?
For me, I've noticed that building relationships outside work is really fundamental. I've built relationships with a lot of my teammates outside work, which is something that I didn't have initially. And I think that has allowed me to care a whole lot more for the people that I work with and to understand where they're coming from as well. For example, Jenny, Brian, that I was working closely with for the metrics team, I think we had a lot of conversations beyond the work that we're doing. And that when conflict did come in moments where there was a disagreement about certain things, it was easy for me to reach out and be like, oh, Brian, I think this could have been a little different, or Jimmy, maybe we should have done this different, or I didn't feel well in this situations, and get that feedback. very quickly in a nice way, in a very healthy and constructive way. So I think it's taken a whole lot more to just go beyond us getting the task done to reaching out more like at a personal level to allow for the solving of conflicts, I guess.
Yep.
Yeah, I was gonna. So previously was working on comments, and I was gonna kind of talk about how I think a lot of. So we have like these kind of pods of teams that are focused on a certain feature at any given time, and we've been pretty good about kind of delegating and pushing decision making to those teams. So oftentimes, like it is up to the responsibility of that team to figure out and make any given decision at any given time. And so which is both maybe it has its own issues, because I feel like for our team, we even like kind of went around in circles within our own small team. So it worked with Carrie and Tom Ballinger on comments. And so we would oftentimes make a decision, feel probably good about it, and then like reverse it like a couple of days later. And then everybody was like, okay, yeah, that's fine. Like the rest of the team was generally totally fine with kind of that process, because they knew that like we were paying the most attention to those concerns.
I think for me, what I appreciate about Observable is I think that there's this underlying understanding, at least from my side, that everyone is trying their best and we're trying to make Observable successful together, and we're trying to work together as a new team forming. And I feel that, what I really appreciate is that when there is conflict or there is a disagreement, that it comes from a place of maybe it was just a miscommunication, maybe there just needs to be more context. There's a lot of different situations as to why we got to that conflict, but I think what's important to me is like how we go about it and resolve it and really try to understand the other person's perspective. And I think that that's really important. I think conflicts are going to arise, disagreements are going to arise, and we might not see eye to eye on every single thing, but I think it's great that we're having the conversation. And I think it's even more important on how we go about with dealing with that situation versus being upset at each other or mad or creating this tension, especially being remote. I think there needs to be a lot more empathy and understanding that it could just be something that we're not understanding from that side. So, I think it would be a lie to be like companies don't have conflicts, startups don't have conflicts, or there isn't any disagreements happening. That's absolutely not true. I think it's going to be more important in how we deal with them and how we deal with them with each other and how we come out of those situations.
Yeah. +1. It's all about humanizing and understanding folks are coming from a different space, and you don't necessarily have the context for what they've been through that day, that week, even that hour or that minute.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So we're almost out of time, and there was some very interesting questions. Even so much as questions about our caffeine intake. So I'm going to switch the question around, and I'm going to ask, is there anything about working from home this time around? Because like I've worked from home before. I was working from home for about a year and a half prior to this. So is there anything about this time that has surprised you or like you didn't expect? Kudakwashe, you talked a little bit about just not feeling like you have an evening time anymore. Anything else that just really surprised you about the work from home experience?
Great question.
I will say with my kids home, it's completely different because I used to be able to get rid of them at school for a bit, and now they're here all the time. So a lot of us at Observable have had to or have been able to block out childcare hours. And that's been one, really great, and two, kind of surprising because I would have never expected having to do that in a work from home situation because I depend on that schooling. And also the amount of caffeine I am intaking now, it has probably doubled, frankly. Yeah.
For me, I think it's like initially always making the distinction to people that I live with or my friends that are there that I am there but not there. And I think that's the hardest thing. It's like you're there but you're at work, you're not at home. I think that's been, I guess you have had to deal with that, Cassandra, as well, having kids there. They'll be like, Mama is here, but she's really at work. So doing that has been, I think, difficult for me. But I think over time, like, it's as more as we've gotten used to the setup, it's worked pretty well.
I don't know if there was. I think the most surprising thing is actually like, because I've worked from home before, but never fully remote my whole time. And when I worked from home occasionally, I still got a lot done. I was super productive actually on those days where I can just be alone and at home. But I didn't realize how much of the switch in working style was going to actually impact my productivity because of the previous experience that I've had occasionally working from home, maybe 1 or 2 days a week or something like that. And so I didn't realize like how much impact being in the same space that you live in and work in was going to affect me mentally in terms of, like, I feel like my mind's in a jumble between like home and work all the time because I'm in this smaller apartment, I'm in the same space and not being able to get away from home. But again, like I've been trying to adapt by my little self-care routine and little things to really try to like switch my mind into work mode. But yeah, I guess I just didn't realize how much of that by moving fully remote, like how much it was going to actually impact how productive I am in a day.
I would maybe say the same thing about kids. As Kat.
Look, he's so cute.
Yeah, he comes in. He knows he can basically come. Actually, I think it's definitely something that he notices that people are on my screen and he wants to come and say hi. So he'll like. I think they gravitate. Yeah. I feel like, and I know it's definitely different per person, but like I'm totally comfortable. I don't really even care when he comes in now.
Yeah.
I kind of just assume that people know that he'll show up and do something or interrupt or I don't know. So there's those things, but definitely like there's plenty of times where I have to tell him like, yeah, I'm like right here sitting here, but I am working right now. I have to play with you later. And still kind of figuring that out.
Yeah. I mean, that in and of itself has been a surprising thing for me is how chill the team is with the kid thing. Because frankly, I'm talking to a lot of friends and even my husband's work, and they're not actually that okay with it. They're like, oh, I'll give you a minute. Like it's not like, oh, hey, and this team's just like, yeah, this is hard. Let's go with it. Plus they're adorable.
Cassandra's kids did a show and tell for us on one of our team events.
Fun. They got excited and wanted to go for a very long time. Well, thank you.
We had a song with Visnu's kid the other time. Remember when?
Yeah. I love seeing everyone's families. Yeah. It's so cool. And I don't know if we would have that if we were in the office, right? So it's kind of, I don't know. This has given us a real perspective on each other and how we live and who we are. So I think it's in the end gonna teach us a lot about each other. So we're out of time, and I just want to say thank you for coming on, for chatting, for being vulnerable, because some of these questions are not super comfortable. And I know that can kind of be an odd thing to do in this environment and live. But thank you, and really appreciate you all participating. I want to do something really quick because I haven't done this in a very long time. I want to take a selfie with you on the screen. The meetup. And now I can do it here. Hey, smile. Yay. Oh, that's weird to see like my head. Anyway. All right. Thank you all so much. We're going to pass it back over to Wayne, and I appreciate all of you.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for joining.